Another day in South Korea, day 2. I took the bus and I went to this town that I can not even pronounce, but it's a very special town because it was the capital of the kingdom for nearly 1,000 years actually. From around 50 before Christ to 900 something after, or 800 after. And it has a lot of history, and you can see those hills, and they're not natural, they're man-made. And because so many kings and royal families lived here, it was a very sacred place, and those were tombs actually. That's where they buried them, and some are huge, and they are supposed to show the power of the emperor. They even have a gravestone, and there's even one that where you can enter. So I'm going to look for that one. And the weather today is very good. It's cold here in South Korea. It's actually very cold, colder than the places I went to in Japan, but also because I'm more up north. But everything's good as long as you have the sun. And as the place I went to yesterday, it's very chill. There were 4 people in the bus. I haven't seen any tourists today, only in my hostel, but that's about it. I can see a sign here. It probably says that you should not, or you can't go up the hill, which I understand. It does look like a Windows wallpaper. Yeah. And there's also another historical site, a temple, but it's further away from the center, and it would have been another hour to go there, so I would probably just stay here because I already saw a temple yesterday. And I still don't know what I think about South Korea, but I did research a lot, and I did watch videos and also talk to people, and there's some very interesting things I found out. Because I don't know, since I arrived here I didn't really know what vibes the country is giving me. But okay, let's start like that. So South Korea, it didn't have much time to build its own culture because they had so many different wars and the conflict between North and South Korea, the country splitting up. So they did have history before that. They did have the emperors, the kingdoms, this and that, and also the tombs. Everything is pretty well preserved because of the hills. So they made it harder for thieves to steal jewelry or other stuff they burned with the emperor and the kings. But they didn't have much time to form their own culture because they had so many conflicts. And you can really tell, because they don't really have that. And I feel like they're looking for a culture somewhere, and they're like looking for American culture, European culture, Japanese culture in a way. Oh, it's getting pretty. But they don't have this sense of belonging, and they don't really have values as far as I know. So they're looking for it somewhere, and they have a lot of high luxury brands, a lot of shops. They're very big on consuming, on buying stuff, and they do have their K-pop, K-drama, and I'm not into that at all, but I do know people that are, and they're so obsessed with it, and even people here are so obsessed with it. And that's also because it's kind of distraction of their life, if that makes sense, because you focus on celebrities, entertainment, technology, and you get distracted by your own life, which might not better, which is not good, and you should not be obsessed with other people or idolize them, because at the end of the day they're also just people. And what else? The food, I could talk about the food because I like eating, and it's very hard to find meat here. It's very expensive as well. I realized you can get eggs and stuff, yes, but the meat is very expensive. And also, if you go to restaurants, today I had a handmade burger patty, but it was so small, and with that I had rice and 100 different side dishes, and I don't know how they're called, but I also had them yesterday with my fish, and I think they have all those side dishes because the meat is so expensive. Look, they're fighting. The birds are fighting. You see, that's real entertainment there. Because they have all those side dishes with so many vegetables, kimchi, seaweed, sesame. Yeah, and I don't even know what most of the things are. They're like some vegetables. They also have rice. So I feel like they just fill themselves with veggies, with carbs, because protein is so expensive, and this food, it doesn't really fill you. And you can tell that people are more overweight than in Japan, for example, or Vietnam, because probably they eat more carbs, and they probably eat more in general because they like that food doesn't really fill you as much, I guess. And here it's pretty easy to get seafood because I'm in Busan and it's a big port. I'm by the ocean. But I heard that even seafood is more expensive in Seoul, which makes sense because they have to transport it there. But I'm going there tomorrow actually to spend some days there, and I imagine it to be similar to Tokyo, but I'm not sure, so I will check it out. Maybe it's also a completely different vibe than Busan. I will find out. I'm also not just hating on the country, I'm just sharing my experience, but also my first impression, because I didn't really feel like I have to go to South Korea. I just came here because it was close to Japan, and it's a country that not that many people go to, but it's pretty known worldwide for many things, for their music, as I said, for example, and also because their conflict with North Korea. Yeah, but it's not my last day here, so maybe my opinion changes, maybe not. And I'm here now today, but I will leave, go to other places as well, and then go back to Japan, as I said yesterday. Yeah, let me look for the tomb. And also that they're very superficial in many cases, because their appearance is very important, the physical appearance, and even for men, because many men are very feminized here, and apparently the women are also expected to work to make money, and the men are more feminized in a way, and they want to look good. They have their skin care routine, they like make their hair, they even put makeup on, probably they see what outfits they wear. So that's one thing I realized. And apparently they also bully a lot because they don't really trust each other, apparently. So they do talk bad about other people or criticize them, but I don't really know if it's true, because I'm here talking about this topic as an outsider with no personal experience about that, so I can't really tell. And I did find the tomb, the one I can go into, so I'm going to check it out now. Why is it so epic? With the music and everything. And the special effects. Sheesh, that's a flex. I feel like I'm in a movie right now. Oh, okay, so this is actually the tomb, the Cheommachong tomb, which is an entrance, and you can go inside. But yeah, I don't really feel like going right now. Maybe later, maybe not, because I think it's just a tomb, and I already went to the like the information center. Yep. And I did remember another thing about South Korea, and it's the low birth rate. Like the expectancy rate is like 0.72 children per household, which is wild. So it's not even one child per family. That's crazy. And I think you can't really blame the people, because there has to be a reason for that. And maybe one reason is the culture. Maybe they value other things more than family. Maybe they put more focus on work in their career. Oh, look at that. There's a pond, and I went into this other park here. There's so much more stuff to see here. Yeah, and maybe young people, they can't afford kids because they can't even afford a house and they have to work, so I guess they don't have children. But the problem is, it's not having children is not something you can just undo, because children, if you have a baby, it takes time till it grows up. So if they don't have children now, then in 15-20 years they won't have people, and if they then decide to have children anymore, they have to wait another 15-20 years till they grow up. I can see why this is a problem, because if the older generation leaves this earth and there's no new people, then yeah, that's a problem. I can imagine that the economy collapses, and there's hard times ahead probably, which is very sad, but you can't really change it, right? And yeah, that's it for this video, and I see you in the next one.